Welcome to the Research Like a Pro with DNA question and answer series. I'm Nicole Dyer, and today I'm going to talk about top tips for making Lucidchart diagrams, and specifically DNA diagrams. And one of our study group members in Research Like a Pro with DNA asked for some tips about how to make using Lucidchart a little bit easier. And she wanted to know how to make crooked lines straight, how to get rid of endpoints by default, and just how to make moving family branches around in the diagram a little bit easier. So I share some tips about doing that, and also one of the main tips that I've shared is how to use the hierarchy org chart template within Lucidchart to make this all a bit easier and simpler. And our last question is about Lucidchart. And the question is, do you have some top 10 tips for using Lucidchart to perform basic functions to develop tree charts? For example, straighten crooked lines, use straight endpoints and not the arrow tip ones, move entire blocks, and duplicate blocks to add another child line to a parent. So now I'm just going to switch my screen over to Lucidchart and show some things there. And hopefully that will be helpful. Okay, so first, here's a blank diagram, and as far as the endpoints, this is where you see the endpoints, and to change the default endpoint for the whole chart going forward, just select none. Now, anytime you draw a line, it's not going to have the arrow endpoint. Now, if you want to have the arrows again, go back to this endpoint and choose. Maybe you want this kind. Now when you draw it, it will have the line, and it has the wrong direction for me. Like, I prefer to have it going up, but I guess it's both ways, which is probably why we don't usually want an endpoint. So undo. Okay, so we'll go back to, let's see. Oops, none. Okay, now if your line gets crooked and you don't like it like that, usually I just need to straighten it out by moving it directly under. But it is pretty, it's nuanced because when you move it, it bends the line. So what I really have liked lately is using the org chart template because it does all the work for you for bending the lines and making sure everyone's lined up in the generations. So here's an example of the org chart template. And when you add an when you add a new person and you just type, so all I had to do was press the plus button and then start typing. And it's really great. Now let's say I want to add another branch up from Norma. Click the plus and it adds a new branch. And let's say I actually want this branch to be in the middle of Russell and Erica. So I can just click on it and drag it over here. And now it's all the lines are fixed for me. So this is a really good option for people who don't like Lucidchart, who want it to be easier. I suggest the org chart template. It makes it easier to move entire branches. So let's say I built this branch down and I have multiple children of Bobby. And now I actually decide I want to move this branch over here. Everyone gets, oops, that was a bad example. I did it wrong. Let's see, there we go. Now it worked correctly. So if you move it and then you put it under somebody, it'll move that whole branch under that. You want to put it to the side, then it moves it. So I like the org chart. Now I'm going to show you how to do this from the beginning. So if you go to your documents and you click new, Lucidchart, create from template, then you can select the org chart template, which is right here. And you can see it kind of shows this person at the top and then their direct reports like you would do for work. Like if you had an organization at a company and you want to show how they all just, report to the top. And it gives you an example when you first start this. So you could just delete all these things, delete, select, and press the delete button. And then when you click on the org chart, it opens this on the side and you can turn off the different employee fields. So I don't care about the role. I just want the name. And then the style, I don't want the picture. I just want the name, and actually selecting the whole thing will work better. So let's see, shape style like that. And then employee fields without the role. And then you can start adding to this and clicking the plus to add a new person like that. And you can add an ancestor above this way. And now if you want to make all of the names to be centered, highlight the entire org chart and then click center. Now it's centered, but if you want it vertically centered, you have to go and put it to the bottom and then center it again. And now it's centered, and you can change the font size and you can change the type of the font. I like Bergamo. And then one thing you might notice is the spacing can be challenging, but with the org chart template, if you have multiple rows, like born 1920, and then like another space for married somebody like that, it keeps the generations the same. So even though Russell's box is smaller, these are still in the same generation. And if I add another descendant, it goes to the same generation. And that's great. You can even, if you want all the formatting, I'm pretty sure you can have the same styles set current as default. So now hopefully when I add, yes, okay, so it has the same font when I add children after you do that. So this is my new favorite way to make Lucidchart diagrams.
Well, thank you for showing that. That's so neat. We have a question. How do you change curved corners to straight corners on the connecting lines? And is that
Oh,
possible?
I think so. Let me see if I can figure that out. So let's just select one of the lines. I don't know. Is it selected or not? I think it's selected. So it turned slightly blue. Line
Mm.
options. Okay, so I think this is it right here. Yeah. Okay. So under line options, that's what this button is for. You can change the amount of curve in the corner radius, apparently is what it's called, by changing the number of pixels in that corner curve. So just taking that down to 0. Now we have a straight line. And you could do this with the entire chart at once by selecting all of it and then go to line options. And then it's, since I changed one, it won't let me do it. Maybe let me go back and see if I can. It's doing that like one at a time. I'll put it back to 12 and then maybe I can do it all at once. Not sure. It won't let me do that all at once, I guess. I wonder if you have to do it over here in the styles.
Yeah, maybe since it is one of the templates.
Yeah. When you're in the template view, it's less flexible. So the idea here with the template is to make it easier for people who hate Lucidchart, who are struggling. It kind of reminds me of the PowerPoint hierarchy template where it just does the drawing of the descendancy diagram for you and you just type in the names.
Right.
If you want the full flexibility of Lucidchart with all of the like lines the way you want them, you probably wouldn't want to use the org chart template because there are some limitations with what you can do. But overall, I've found that it's pretty useful for the main things that you need, which are keeping people in the same generation, drawing the lines so that they come down the right way, and then being able to move people around in whole blocks. This example, which was bigger, you can even select just these two branches and try to move them at once. But it got messed up because I don't think I selected the whole thing, but maybe I have to select the line too. I don't
Well,
know.
this also would be super handy if you just need to make something really fast. You know,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily want to use it for your real research Lucidchart, but you just need to quickly create something maybe for a report. And you just want to get in some of the basics right there to show. I can see lots of uses for just knowing how to do something quick and easy.
Yeah. And I used it for my entire chart for
You did?
my current project because, well, another big benefit of it is that you can create a spreadsheet that has everyone's name of their parent and then import that and it types all that out for you. So and puts it into the chart for you. So you don't have to type all the names. So if you already have like a descendancy, like in a, you know how you can get those family tree descendancy reports from your program, like your family history program
Mm-hmm.
software.
Right, right.
So if you already have something like that, and you know you're going to have matches descending from a lot of those people, and you just want that already created in a Lucidchart diagram, you can just take that report, the descendancy report, the text report, put it into AI and say, give me a spreadsheet that shows each person's parent so I can put it into Lucidchart as a org chart template. And it will do that for you. And then you can import that into Lucidchart into that template. So that's why I started with that because I had something like that that I wanted to start from. So
I
it does
love
save you
that.
some time that way too.
That's really neat. Okay, one more question. Can you suggest how to show unrelated people, fans, like witnesses to a person in Lucidchart? So how would you add people
Sure.
that aren't
And
really
then make sure
related?
I don't forget to do this one too. Duplicate blocks. Okay, so to add fan club people, sometimes I do another page and I'll put like relationships and documentary evidence and I'll do fans like that, where maybe I have like well, one thing I've done is like a will. So I'll put the name of this page will be like Will of John, and then I'll put John here, and then everyone's role beneath them, like testator, and then maybe over here I'll have like the witness and no connecting line because I don't know his relationship. But then if John puts all his children in his will, I can put their names here and put heir or whatever their the specified relationship is. If it says child or if it's just an heir that you don't know, and like that. And other things you can do are like with the lines, you can change the line type to indicate some other kind of relationship. Like maybe you want to do this type of line for witnesses and maybe don't want this endpoint. And so if you have a key, you could put like this type of line means they're a fan, and then like a regular line means that you know the relationship. So I've done things like that before. And then another thing that you might need to do is unknown relations, people with the same name. So I sometimes will do unconnected Reeves people. I have one like this in my current Lucidchart where I found a few different Reeves that seem like they could be related. Like I found this James Andrew Reeves and like 3 DNA matches descended from him, but I don't know who he is. He was in a different location. He could be related further back, maybe. So I'll just put a bunch of unconnected Reeves all here so that whenever I find another one, I can add it and see, oh, now there's like 5 people descending from this Andrew. Now I'm going to pay attention to him. Whereas before it could have just been a red herring. And so that's another thing that I do. But these pages at the bottom of the Lucidchart are really helpful for all kinds of fans and unconnected people. Oh, and then duplicating. So let's see. Okay, so I use this a lot where I want to duplicate something. Okay, so I have like, and maybe all my test takers are green. So I want to add another test taker in the same format with the same kind of color and centimorgan thing. So I'll just click on it and then Control C on my keyboard and then Control V to paste it. And wherever your mouse is pointing is where it will paste. So that's kind of handy. And then once you've got it duplicated, you can double click on it to change the name and the number of centimorgans. So that's how I would duplicate it. And then another thing I would do to duplicate things is, let's say I want to keep my working document here, but then to get it ready for the report, I'm going to select it all and then paste it over here, tweak the way it looks. Like maybe I want to have the font be like this and be bigger, and to fit on the page better, I want to make it like that. So I'll do that and it's on the same page, but maybe I just move it over here. And then this is my actual working document, like working diagram. And this is the one that I duplicated and changed for the report. So duplicating things is really easy. I just do the Control+C and Control+V to paste.
Well, that was such a fun demonstration. I loved it. I got lots of tips. I think we all learn how to work with it differently, and it's just neat to see how you do it.